this is Editing Calb. I already made an intro, I recorded it, so after this, that intro is going to play. However, if you're starting this video, I do think that you should try to join a clan, and I have a clan that I mentioned in this video later on. However, I'm going to mention it here because I have a plan that I want to do. I want to farm out corrupted mods, and I'll explain what that is later in this video. However, to be able to do corrupted mods, you need to be a part of a clan. You could try to RNG your way by getting a group of people that are already looking for these corrupted mods. However, I do believe that players should be self-sufficient in whatever they're hunting for and shouldn't be reliant on others to be able to get the items. With that being said, if you want to join a clan, please hit up my main account. It's Calb, hashtag 536. You hit up that account, you'll be able to probably get into the clan faster, or if you are in the comment section, I'm going to try to respond to as many comments as fast as possible, because one of the goals in today's video is to farm out corrupted mods. I think that'll probably be the end of the video goal, but it is something that I want to mention, and it is probably going to be a part of your guys' homework. The reason why it's important is because you need to build a clan key. Now, you can use plat to be able to skip this. However, I don't think everyone should be spending their plat as soon as possible, and I don't really want to recommend that in the guide. If it really matters to you, then spend the plats. However, if you're in the clan, I believe you can just join off someone else that is already in the clan and be able to pick up the blueprints that you need for your corrupted keys. Once we get to that part of the video, all this would make sense, but just want to throw that out there now. Try to get into a clan as soon as possible. Alrighty-o. So, we're back with another video today. Today we're going to be starting off at the Junction to Mars. If you did your homework, this should already be done, or you should be at the step in which we're about to do it. In that case, if you haven't done it, do it, and if you've done it, let's continue. So we have access to Mars now. We also have to access to two new quests, the Archwing and the Heart of Deimos. Heart of Deimos is going to be a bit longer to get to, so our first goal is going to be the Archwing. However, you may need to do some missions on Mars itself, in which that should also be a goal. Completing the missions on Mars so you can be able to continue with your story. The Archwing Quest will actually start off on Venus, so you may not need to do anything on Mars. I recommend that you do as much as the quest as you can before it tells you to do your star chart. This quest is pretty self-explanatory, so I don't feel like I need to show you anything. I feel like you can understand what is needed. I will hop in if I do find a resource might be a bit more rare in these areas and where you can find it. Okay, I've just completed the Archwing Quest. None of it takes place on Mars at all, so you don't have to worry about it. So, after you complete your Archwing Quest, you can go ahead and complete anything that you want to do on Mars. I will say, however, you should try to finish completing all of your previous planets purely so you can get access to nightmare modes, while also working towards completing your star chart. Completing your star chart 1 gives you a ton of mastery, and on top of that, you also get access to Steel Path at some point. Steel Path requires you to complete all of the planets and all the little nodes that are associated with them. I tried to do this assassination right here, however, it requires me to be MR5, so it seems like this account will need to be MR5. That being said, I decided to up my mastery, so now I'm at 2, and I have more than enough XP for when the next test requires me to do something. If you're building and using all the new stuff that you're getting, you should be able to be ahead of the game a little bit longer than most. As of right now, I only have the Bow Frag War, Furus, the Lado, and the MK1 Furus, as it was a requirement to buy an MK1 weapon. The Boltor, Braton, Hurston, and Paris, but I have not gotten all the mastery out of all these weapons so far. I've also started crafting Rhino. This isn't necessarily a requirement, however, I will say I will try to build warframes that we do have access to as we enter the planets. So I believe Mars drops 2 warframes, Citrine and Excalibur. I'll try to craft both of them, however, don't feel like that will be a requirement for yourself. I'm purely doing it out of fun and the challenge of making a new account and trying to make them as strong as possible in a short amount of time. You'll also see that I have a clan key building. I think this is a good opportunity for you to join a clan, and an even better opportunity to let you know that I have a clan that you can join. As of right now, it's me and a few other members. However, the clan is pretty strong. We are a mountain clan, so I believe this is the highest rank, if not the second highest rank when it comes to being in a clan. There's 12 members and we've completed a ton of the requirements within them. So on Mars, I do recommend that you try to go up to Maroo's Bazaars first. Maroo's Bazaar gives you access to a few things, one of them being a weekly mission that gives you a lot of endo. Endo is going to be very important in completing some quests and just leveling up mods. For example, you need to trade an Iatan sculpture to Maroo, to be able to get Swinging Tiger. You also need to fill up a sculpture to get Fever Strike, and you need to do a weekly hunt, which all of these go hand in hand together. Phobos, you do need to talk to Maroo herself, so it is a good idea that you go ahead and do that. So let's say you've gotten your Iatan sculpture. What do you do with it now? If you go to your inventory, you'll be able to do something pretty cool. You go to your mod section, you'll see this Iatan treasures right here. Now, Iatan sculptures have slots in which you split Iatan stars. For example, my sculpture has 3. I put in 2 blue right here and 1 yellow. Every sculpture has a certain amount of slots in them and they require certain Iatan stars. So I wasn't able to choose which ones I put in, but instead put in the required ones to be able to raise the endo of my sculpture. When you do this, you can go visit Maroo, or if you're already in the location, you can just go there yourself. In this location, you can find other people that are trading. I believe this might be an introduction to clans if you haven't had it yet.
Hey, came
but
to trade, or did you find
just come and talk to
You're
Maroo.
looking for Maroo's Bazaar.
You already
You've come
found
to the right
the
place.
Iatan treasure. Now you just want to extract your endo from it. This is where you do it.
Oh, this is a fine piece.
While we're
I had
still
a hard
here,
time giving this up.
I want to talk about this NPC over here. If there's ever a vaulted frame, this is who you'll talk to see if they're back in rotation.
Alrighty.
What you need to do is you need to trade Aya for relics.
Void Relics.
And right now, Titania
Just
and Gara
like
are
life.
the frames that you can get. On top of that, you can get weapons that came alongside with them. I figured I would mention that since we're here already. This is going to be the start of your prime frame journey if you decide to get one. However, it's not a requirement. So I wouldn't focus too hard on getting them, but there are some requirements that require you to crack relics, which is what we're going to talk about next. Right here, you can find your Void Relics. We talked about this in episode 1. You're able to refine your relics. So let's say I want to get, Sevagoth. You see there's a Sevagoth Prime chassis blueprint. That is the rare part. If I come here, I can see right here, here are my chances of getting it if I have a flawless refinement. The flawless refinement is right here. You can see the bar at the bottom. The bronze bar gets smaller, the silver bar gets bigger, and so does the gold bar, all the way up until Radiant. Now, Radiant is going to be your best chance of getting a gold. However, it doesn't mean it is going to be the highest chance overall of every other thing. It is still lower than the bronze and silver by a ton, but it is better than it at a base level. Now, how do you refine your relics? You need to get these things called Void Traces. You can find these by picking up Void Traces inside of Void Fissure missions. So let's do an example Void Fissure mission really quick. You may not have a ton available to you, but ideally you want to do something that is quick. Out of all the missions that are here, the best one to do would be a capture, but that's only in Neo. Each relic has a specific location, so your Lith relics typically lower level. Miso is a bit higher level, Neo is above that, and then Oxy is the highest. But then if you scroll down, you'll see that there's Requiem fissures and then there's Omnia fissures. Requiem has to do with a different type of relic that you'll discover later in the game, while Omnia means any relic can be used here except for Requiem. I honestly recommend that you do most of your relic farming in these type of missions. These typically are endless missions, so you can be there for as long as you want. However, you do need to be later in the game to have access to this. So we're just going to do a basic one. And Mobile Defense is the one that I have available. Spy is also pretty fast, so I might do that one instead. You choose your relic that you want to farm with. For me, I'm just going to go with this one. Alrighty, so we're in the mission. In the top left, we can see two objectives. One is the spy mission, and the other one is reactant collected. To collect reactant, we need to find enemies that are golden. Typically, you'll see a void storm appear right above them, causing them to become corrupted enemies. Right here, these enemies are corrupted. They have a chance of dropping these fissures. I was in range of collecting one of them, so you didn't get to see the icon in which they usually drop at, but let me see. If I kill them at range, this will probably be better. There we go. So right there, you can see that I got a reactant. That symbol right there. If you ever see that while doing one of these missions, go over and collect it. You need to collect 10 of these while on a mission. Ideally, you want to wait for the enemies to become golden, because it'll make it a lot easier to get your reactants faster into the mission. Once you collect all your reactants, you just need to complete your objective, and if you're in an endless mission, you just need to get to the stage in which you can leave, or you get rewards at. For survival missions, it is every 5 minutes. For defense, it is every 3 rounds. Interceptions, I believe it is every round, and I believe those are the endless missions. If I forgot one, I'll put the information on screen, but I only recommend that you do defense and maybe survival. Now that you finish your mission, you can see that you've got your void traces. This number can vary from 6 to 30, and if you have a resource booster, it actually can double. So, it is kind of recommended to have a resource booster when farming, but it isn't necessarily required. It just makes it more convenient. With a lot of boosters in this game, it's more of a convenience thing than a requirement thing. So now you can see that I have 100 void traces, and I can hold a total of 200. What dictates how many I can hold at a time? Well, that will be your mastery rank. So because I am mastery rank 2, I have 100 plus parentheses 50x mastery rank. My mastery rank is 2, so I get 50 times 2. 50 times 2 is 100, 100 plus 100 is 200. So let's say I was MR 10. 10 times 50, 500, 500 plus 100 is 600. So it keeps going up with your mastery rank, which is a good reason on why you should up your mastery rank. Me personally, I don't know if I'll bring this account over MR5 as it is not a requirement. However, I do believe that you should be upping your mastery rank whenever you get the opportunity to do so. While I am challenging myself by putting myself at a lower rank to show you guys how much power you can have regardless of your rank, I don't want you guys to limit yourself like I have been myself. Alrighty, so as you can see, we're going to go over to my foundry, and I believe my clan key is complete. Now I have access to my dojo. Again, like I said earlier in the video, please try to get into a dojo as fast as possible, as this next part is going to require some dojoing. Alrighty, so you're in my dojo. I'm not gonna lie, it is pretty bare bones, and that's on purpose. This is mainly just so people are able to access things like navigation, Crimson Branch, and be able to trade. On top of that, we do have our rooms. There's the Tenno Lab, which you can find anything that has to do with warframes in here, that are tied to the dojo, that is. We also have the Energy Lab here at the Chem Lab. You'll find more Grenier focused items. Look at it, it's not a requirement. Don't feel like you need to do it. Now here we do have some pretty good weapons that we could go after. The Dual Toxis is a very powerful weapon in the endgame, so it might be worth picking up and farming it out early. The Serrata is a weapon I very much like. You can find Rivens for this pretty cheap, and it can perform pretty well, almost like a Glaive Prime, which is a very powerful weapon. The Dual Ichor is also pretty strong endgame, so I would recommend maybe picking that up. The Torrid is also here. This is an MR4 weapon and can be an extremely powerful weapon in the endgame. The reason why we're here is because of this room, the Oricon Lab. You can find this within the dojo. You need to do research on these dragon keys. All of them are required for this next part. To mention this now, if you ever need to find a place very quickly, you can just do it via the fast travel section within your menu. Just click on fast travel. The Energy Lab is Corpus, the Grenier, Infested, Tenno, Oricon, the Vault, which you won't really need to worry about, the Dry Dock, Vet Kids, and Daggifs. All of Dragon's research is complete if you are interested in getting them pretty early on. Once you've collected all the keys from the dojo, you actually need to craft them yourself. So what you need to do is just click on the key section. All the keys have a pretty easy requirement of 10 void traces and some ferrite. This is a pretty common material. Material you're probably going to struggle with early on is void traces. Ideally, you want to find a group that you can farm this with. However, just for an example, I'm going to do this solo and I'm going to show you how easy it is to do. Once they're done, we can pick them up. Before you enter a mission, you do need to make sure you have these equipped. These will come with negative status effects. For this one, your health is greatly reduced. This one, shields are greatly reduced. This key, damage is greatly reduced. And the last one, speed is greatly reduced. Ideally, you'd want to form a squad of people in which all of you carry one key. However, it may not be possible for you to do that, so you need to take matters into your own hands. Now, the purpose of these keys are to open a door, and these doors can be found anywhere on Deimos. Prefer to do this mission when it comes to farming corrupted keys. All you need to do is find the capture target, and then you can look for the door afterwards. Alrighty, I captured the target. So now we need to look for a vault. As you can see, it has a symbol on it. That symbol is tied to the key that you need to turn in. And I believe that is the Bleeding Dragon key that we have. This one's the one that reduces your health. So I'm going to insert the key. Now, it's no longer in my inventory because I've used it. As you can see, there's a statue of a Warframe hovering over an artifact. Select this artifact. Lotus has this little dialogue, but ideally, you should be at the end of your mission, making you not need to worry about all these consequences of picking up this artifact. Alrighty, so we got Vile Acceleration. This is one of many corrupted mods. Corrupted mods have two effects, one positive, greatly, and one negative, which can be great or it can be pretty insignificant. For Vile Acceleration, it's pretty insignificant. Minus 15% damage is very small when you get a lot of fire rates, which increases your DPS a ton. Now, there's a variety of corrupted mods that I'm going to put on your screen right now. Ideally, you want to have all of them. However, some are more important than others. So I'll put some important Warframe-based ones, and then some important weapon-based ones, and then just the full list at the end of anything that I did not include originally. Your priority should be collecting the Warframe and the weapon ones. However, that is all up to you. If you do want greater power, this is going to be one of the key steps that you can do early on into the game. Another thing you can find in these missions are cavats. I do recommend that you try to scan them, as they can give you these things called genetics in which you need to craft a cavat in general. Also, watch out for poison. It will kill you very fast. So that was a lot of stuff. What we went over so far is corrupted mods, clans, Void Relics, and a few quests that are associated with this area of the game. Ours, specifically. We have the Archwing unlocked, at least you should have the Archwing unlocked if you're at this point in the video. And our next goal is to either go up to the Phobos Junction, or we make our way to Deimos. I'll let you decide in which order you go into. Me personally, I do want to try to get some more power, so I'm going to try to go up to Phobos. Phobos gave me a few things. Gave me a few quests, stolen dreams, also gave me a whole new planet that I can explore on. And if I go up enough, I'll get access to the Void. The Void is a pseudo end of the map location. Earlier in Warframe's history, this was the end of the map. However, nowadays, it's more of a midway point between the end game and the start of the game. Some may call this a mid-game area, which I wouldn't necessarily disagree with. If you'd like, you can make your way all throughout Phobos. But let's say you don't want to do Phobos yet, and you want to go start doing part of Deimos. Well, you can make your way there by doing the first mission on Deimos, the second mission, and then you'll have access to the Gambian Drift. To complete the missions required, you can click on the Heart of Deimos quest, and then click Begin. However, I think I'm gonna hold off on doing this in today's video. I do think our account could use a bit more power, so that's going to be the homework, is getting more corrupted mods and also returning to Earth, to Ceta specifically, and returning to Fortuna to get some more set mods. On screen right now, I'm going to put some example builds that I think you should follow. These are going to be builds that I'm making myself for my mag. However, you may not have a mag, which is fine. The builds probably won't stray too far apart. I will say, I've yet to upgrade my mag with a Hurricane Catalyst or Reactor. I honestly forget the name most of the time. I've yet to upgrade my mag with that, and I'm kind of debating on whether or not I am going to do that. Well, I do think it is worthwhile for our first character to give them some buffs. I don't know if I want to recommend that to you, honestly. I think saving your potato might be worth investing into a prime frame that you can farm out. So if you'd like to, maybe farm out a prime frame if you're able to. I don't know how possible it is with the limited type of relics that we have right now, but if it is possible, why not try it out? That being said, this is going to be the end of today's video. The next video is going to start off on Deimos, and that will be our entire goal. Conquering Deimos and learning everything there is to Deimos. There's a lot of stuff tied to it, so I want to cover as much of it as I can in one video. I think it would be a better format than what I've been doing so far. If you tend to disagree, please let me know in the comment section, as episode 3 will be made with feedback from 1 and possibly 2. I hope you've enjoyed. Until next time, stay safe out there, Tenos. Hell yeah, maximum goodness. Oh my god, I fucking love him. Oh my god. Oh, this is so epic. This game rules. I want this to come.
I don't know if I want to slam him against the wall or have him slam me against one.
What? What? What did you just say?